Hello, friends. How long could you survive without food or water? A day? Maybe a week? What if some creatures on this planet can go without it for months, even years? From the burning deserts to the frozen edges of the earth, nature has built survivors that break every rule we thought we knew about life. Animals that slow their heartbeat to almost nothing, store water inside their bodies like living canteens, or bury themselves in silence, waiting for the world to wake up again. While they don't eat, don't drink, and yet they live on. You think you know what true endurance looks like? Wait until you meet these champions of survival. The animal kingdom is full of survivors with abilities that challenge everything we know about life itself. Some creatures can go days without food or water, others last for weeks, and a few can endure months or even years without a single sip or bite. They slow their hearts, lower their energy use, store water inside their bodies, and wait patiently while time passes by. These animals have evolved tricks that make them champions of endurance, living proof that survival isn't about strength alone, but about adapting in ways we can barely imagine. In this video, we'll meet the creatures that turn hunger and thirst into nothing more than a test they were born to win. When we think of survival, we picture strength, speed, or sharp claws. But the real masters of endurance win by doing the opposite. These animals slow down, shut off, or store what little they have to outlast nature's harshest challenges. From deserts with no rain for months to frozen wastelands where food vanishes, they've evolved secrets that let them go without eating or drinking for unimaginable lengths of time. In this story, we'll meet creatures that bend the rules of biology itself. Camels that can turn fat into water, snails that sleep for years, crocodiles, and snakes that can feast once and vanish into stillness for months. Bears that live half a year on nothing but stored energy, and even tiny beings that can survive droughts like living time capsules. Each one tells a part of the same story. That survival isn't just about what you have, but how you use it when the world gives you nothing. You probably think of sloths as lazy, slow, and fragile. But what if I told you their secret to survival is a superpower we can only dream of? The ability to live on almost nothing for weeks, sometimes months, without weakening or starving. Sloths are among the most energy-efficient animals on Earth, built not for speed or power, but for mastering life in slow motion. Living high in tropical rainforests, they've adapted to survive on a diet so poor in calories that most animals would starve in days. Sloths eat mainly leaves, tough, fibrous, nutrient-poor leaves. Yet they've turned this meager diet into a strategy that allows them to survive with minimal food and water for long periods of time. Their secret lies in their ultra-slow metabolism. A sloth's heart rate and body temperature are among the lowest for any mammal of its size, and they burn energy at an astonishingly slow pace. Digestion can take up to a month for a single meal to fully pass through their system, meaning every leaf eaten is stretched to its maximum potential, extracting every last bit of nutrition and moisture. Because their food provides so little water, sloths have evolved to conserve it like no other. They barely sweat, lose almost no fluids through waste, and can rely solely on water extracted from leaves and occasional rainfall. In extreme conditions, sloths can go weeks without direct access to fresh water. Moving little, sleeping for up to 20 hours a day, and letting their bodies slip into a state of near stasis where hunger and thirst almost disappear. Scientists have observed sloths surviving long dry spells by slowing their metabolism even further to levels that would put most mammals into a fatal coma. Yet sloths stay alive, strong enough to climb, feed slowly, and evade predators with their stillness and camouflage. Their endurance isn't about storing fat or finding large meals. It's about living so efficiently that they need almost nothing to keep going. In the jungle's harshest moments, when storms strip trees bare or droughts kill young leaves, other herbivores panic and starve, but sloths simply wait. They move slower than time itself, using patience as their shield, conserving energy, making a handful of leaves last for what feels like forever. They have perfected a survival strategy that trades speed for endurance, proving that sometimes winning the battle for life isn't about racing ahead. It's about knowing how to stay alive when the world gives you almost nothing at all. Have you ever thought that the best way to survive isn't to fight, flee, or hide, but to become so invisible that predators never realize you're alive at all? That's the secret of the Mata Mata turtle, a creature that looks less like an animal and more like a piece of the swamp itself. Found in the slow-moving rivers and marshes of South America, this turtle has turned camouflage into a full-body masterpiece, making it one of the most deceptive reptiles in the world. At first glance, a Mata Mata turtle doesn't resemble a turtle at all. Its flat, triangular head is covered in flaps of rough, knobby skin. Its long neck looks like a twisted branch, and its brown, jagged shell is shaped like a rotting leaf floating on water. Algae often grows on its back, blending it even further into the murky environment. To any predator swimming by, it's just another piece of debris, not worth a second glance. But this disguise isn't just for hiding, it's also a deadly hunting strategy. Mata Matas are ambush predators that use patience as their greatest weapon. They stay perfectly still for hours, waiting for unsuspecting fish or amphibians to come close, believing the leaf nearby is harmless. In a split second, the turtle stretches its long neck, opens its wide, vacuum-like mouth, and sucks in its prey with incredible force, swallowing it whole before the victim realizes what happened. Scientists have studied Mata Matas and discovered that their entire body design is specialized for this trickery. Their flat heads reduce water disturbance when they strike, and their camouflage is so effective that even experienced divers have mistaken them for dead vegetation. Predators often swim past without noticing them, and prey have no chance of escape until it's too late. This dual use of deception, fooling both enemies and victims, makes the Mata Mata turtle a true master of survival without speed, strength, or armor. In nature, where countless creatures rely on brute force or quick reflexes, this turtle has chosen a different path. It becomes part of the environment itself, untouchable and overlooked, turning invisibility into its ultimate defense. Watching a Mata Mata turtle in its natural habitat is like looking at a swamp floor come to life, a living ghost of the water, proving that in the wild, sometimes the smartest way to survive is to make the world forget you're even there. Have you ever imagined escaping death not by running or fighting, but by tricking your enemy into believing you're something far more dangerous than you really are? Many butterflies have mastered this art of deception, turning their delicate, colorful wings into shields of illusion that keep predators away. To a bird or lizard, a butterfly might seem like an easy meal, fragile and defenseless, but what they see isn't always what they think. Certain butterfly species have large eye-like patterns on their wings, known as false eyes, that make them look like much bigger, more threatening creatures. When danger approaches, the butterfly suddenly flashes these giant eye spots by spreading its wings wide, creating the terrifying illusion that the predator is staring into the gaze of an owl, a snake, or another powerful hunter. In an instant, the attacker hesitates, startled and confused, giving the butterfly the perfect chance to escape unharmed. But the tricks don't stop there. Some butterflies take camouflage to the next level, folding their wings to resemble dried leaves, bark, or even bird droppings, becoming practically invisible when they rest. Predators scanning for food see nothing but debris or waste, never realizing a living meal is right in front of them. Other species mimic the colors and patterns of poisonous butterflies, despite being harmless themselves. Birds that have tasted or witnessed the real toxic version learn to avoid that pattern for life, sparing the mimic species without them ever having to fight or flee. Scientists call this Batesian mimicry, an evolutionary masterpiece where survival is built on reputation and trickery rather than strength. In tropical rainforests, butterfly deception becomes a full show. Some species flip their wings to alternate between camouflage and warning patterns in a split second, dazzling predators and creating a confusing visual storm that makes it almost impossible to follow their movements. Every false eye, every fake wing pattern, every leaf-like disguise is part of a long evolutionary game of outsmarting hunters, turning vulnerability into an advantage. These insects survive not because they're fast or strong, but because they've learned how to control what predators believe, rewriting the story of life and death with a simple, perfect lie painted on their wings. Watching a butterfly escape danger this way is like seeing nature's own sleight of hand, a silent, breathtaking trick that leaves even the fiercest hunters second-guessing what's real and what's an illusion. At first glance, a frog doesn't look like an animal built for extreme endurance, but some species have evolved survival tactics so powerful they can live nearly a year without a single meal or drop of water, turning themselves into living stones waiting for the world to change. One of the most impressive examples is the African bullfrog. When the blazing sun dries up its ponds and rain won't come for months, this frog doesn't panic or search endlessly for water. It simply burrows deep underground and enters a state of suspended life. Hidden beneath the soil, it begins to shed layers of skin that harden around its body like a tough cocoon, sealing in precious moisture and preventing deadly dehydration. Inside this self-made capsule, its heartbeat slows, its breathing becomes nearly undetectable, and it waits, surviving on tiny reserves of stored energy, while the outside world turns to dust. Scientists have recorded these frogs staying hidden for almost a year, without food or water, emerging only when the rains return to flood the land again. The moment it feels the vibrations of distant thunder or the first drops of moisture seep into the ground, the frog awakens, pushing through the earth, shedding its cocoon, and leaping back to life as if time had stood still. This ability is not just impressive, it's critical for survival in one of the harshest environments on Earth, where ponds can vanish for months and food disappears entirely. The frog's body is built for this challenge. It can reduce its energy use to almost nothing, recycle fluids internally, and endure conditions that would kill most creatures in days. Even its organs are protected during this long hibernation, staying perfectly preserved despite the brutal heat and lack of water. Imagine sleeping for a year, not eating, not drinking, yet waking up ready to hunt and mate within hours. That's the kind of biological magic these frogs perform. They are a living reminder that survival doesn't always mean fighting or running. Sometimes it means knowing when to stop, shut down, and wait for the world to become safe again. In deserts and dry savannas, where life vanishes and only dust remains, these frogs hide beneath the earth like time travelers, proving that endurance isn't just about strength. It's about mastering patience on a level few other animals can match. You may think of scorpions as small desert hunters, striking fast and fierce, but their most impressive power is their ability to almost stop time inside their own bodies, surviving up to a full year without a single meal. These ancient arachnids have been perfecting endurance for over 400 million years, making them one of nature's toughest survivors. When food is scarce, scorpions activate their ultimate survival mode. Their metabolism slows to a crawl, their heart rate drops to nearly nothing, and their oxygen consumption is reduced to just a fraction of normal levels. They can sit perfectly still, barely moving for weeks or months, conserving every drop of energy, waiting for the moment prey comes close enough for a strike. This isn't starvation, it's mastery over their own biology. Scorpions are cold-blooded, which means they don't waste energy on staying warm, but their adaptation goes far beyond that. They can enter a semi-dormant state, stretching the nutrients from a single meal for months, something no mammal could ever hope to do. Even their body fluids are used with precision, avoiding dehydration in the hottest deserts, allowing them to live where water may not fall for a year or more. Their survival isn't limited to skipping meals. Scorpions can survive in oxygen levels so low most creatures would suffocate, and they can even endure freezing nights and blazing hot days without losing balance in their systems. Scientists have tested their resilience by sealing them off from food for months. When released, they walked out alive, ready to hunt again as if nothing happened. This ability to endure long periods of scarcity makes them one of the planet's most adaptable predators. Imagine being able to sit in complete stillness for months, heart beating just enough to keep you alive, muscles ready to explode the moment prey comes near. Scorpions don't panic when the world runs dry. They wait, perfectly patient, their bodies like locked-down machines set for survival. This astonishing endurance has allowed scorpions to thrive through mass extinctions, environmental disasters, and endless droughts, making them a living symbol of nature's ability to outlast almost anything. In a world where food can vanish and water is a dream, the scorpion doesn't fight or fear. It simply pauses, a silent desert shadow built to survive time itself. What would you do if your only way to survive was to turn yourself into something too big and too scary to swallow? For the pufferfish, this bizarre but brilliant strategy is its ticket to life in oceans full of predators. Normally, a pufferfish is a small, harmless-looking creature drifting close to coral reefs. But the moment danger approaches, it transforms. Its body has evolved an extraordinary defense mechanism. It gulps massive amounts of water or air, expanding to several times its normal size in just seconds. Suddenly, what looked like an easy meal becomes a spiky, unmanageable balloon. Many predators, startled or unable to bite down, give up immediately, and the pufferfish swims away alive. Some species take this defense further with sharp spines that pop out as the fish inflates, turning their soft, harmless-looking bodies into floating armored balls that can injure a predator's mouth. But size isn't their only trick. Pufferfish also carry one of the most potent natural toxins on Earth, tetrodotoxin, in their skin and organs. Even if a predator manages to grab them, it risks a deadly dose of poison that can paralyze or kill within minutes. This makes most attackers learn fast to never try a pufferfish twice. What makes this strategy so remarkable is how well-timed and controlled it is. Pufferfish don't stay inflated long. It's exhausting and risky for their bodies. But they do it with perfect timing, waiting until the last possible second when a predator lunges. Researchers observing wild pufferfish have seen them outsmarting larger hunters, hiding briefly, and then in spaces where they wedge themselves like a living barricade impossible to pull out. This combination of deception, size manipulation, and chemical warfare makes the pufferfish one of the most cunning survivors in the ocean. It doesn't fight back with teeth or speed, but with shock, surprise, and a body that says, "Try me and regret it forever." In a world where being small usually means being prey, the pufferfish has flipped the rules of survival, proving that sometimes the smartest escape is to become a nightmare. No predator wants to bite twice. You probably think of snails as fragile, slow creatures that wouldn't last a day without water or food. But the truth is shocking. Some species can survive years, even decades, without eating or drinking a drop, all thanks to one of nature's most extreme survival mechanisms. Certain giant African land snails can endure droughts and harsh environments by entering a state called aestivation, a kind of biological pause button where their entire metabolism almost shuts down. When conditions turn deadly, no rain, no plants to eat, blistering sun, these snails retreat into their shells, sealing themselves off with a layer of hardened mucus, like building a protective door. Inside, their heartbeat slows, their breathing nearly stops, and they survive on the tiniest traces of energy stored in their bodies, losing almost no water for months or even years. In some recorded cases, snails have been packed away, forgotten in shipping containers or storage for over 5 years, only to wake up alive when moisture returned, crawling out as if nothing had happened. This isn't luck, it's evolution's ultimate endurance trick. A snail can regulate its internal chemistry to avoid damage from dehydration, recycling fluids inside its tiny body, and keeping its organs alive on what would be nothing for other creatures. Even their shells tell a story of survival. Layers harden to trap every bit of humidity, turning their own home into a life capsule against death. Scientists believe this ability evolved to survive long African dry seasons, where rain might not fall for years. And when the first drops finally return, the snail simply breaks its seal, stretches out, and resumes life as if time never passed. Imagine not eating or drinking for a decade and waking up ready to go. For these snails, it's reality. This extreme adaptation shows that survival isn't just about finding food or water. It's about mastering the art of waiting, of making a single meal last forever, of keeping life on hold until the world is ready to welcome it back. These tiny creatures prove that endurance doesn't always roar. Sometimes it moves slowly, hides away, and outlasts even time itself. Did you know that camels don't actually store water in their humps, yet they can travel across the deadliest deserts on Earth for weeks or even months without a single drink? These incredible animals are nature's ultimate survival machines, designed over millions of years to endure conditions that would kill most creatures in hours. Their humps hold fat, not water, but this fat is their secret weapon. When food and water are gone, their bodies slowly break down these fat reserves, turning them into both energy and hydration that keeps them alive under the scorching sun. A camel can lose up to 25% of its body weight in water, an amount that would be fatal to a human. Yet it keeps walking, carrying loads for miles, seemingly unfazed by the suffocating heat. Their blood cells are oval-shaped, unlike ours, allowing blood to flow freely, even when thickened by dehydration. This unique adaptation prevents organ failure and lets the camel endure thirst levels no other mammal could survive. Their nostrils work like built-in water filters, capturing moisture from every exhale and recycling it back into their system, while also closing tightly during sandstorms to protect their lungs. Inside their bodies, the kidneys and intestines are so efficient they extract every drop of water possible, producing thick, concentrated urine and dry droppings that lose almost no liquid. Their body temperature rises during the day and drops at night, reducing the need for sweating and saving more precious water. Their fur reflects sunlight. Their long eyelashes and double-layered eyelids shield their eyes from searing winds, and their wide, padded feet carry them over burning sand without sinking or blistering. When they finally find water after a long, brutal trek, they can drink over 100 liters in just a few minutes, rehydrating faster than any other animal on Earth, preparing for another long march through nothingness. Camels can detect water sources miles away, navigate vast deserts without landmarks, and survive on thorny plants that would poison or injure other animals. They can withstand brutal heat by adjusting their internal temperature, even tolerating swings from freezing nights to 50-degree-C days without distress. Every part of their body is a masterpiece of desert engineering, a living fortress designed to turn scarcity into survival. To watch a camel in the heart of the desert is to witness the pinnacle of endurance. An animal that carries its own fuel, its own water, its own shelter, walking through a world where life itself should be impossible, and yet doing it with quiet, relentless strength that nothing can match. Have you ever seen an animal so dedicated to staying alive that it literally builds its own disguise from the world around it? The decorator crab is one of nature's most brilliant survival artists, turning itself into a living piece of the ocean floor to escape predators that would otherwise make a quick meal of it. This small crab doesn't rely on speed or strength. Instead, it uses ingenuity and resourcefulness that rivals human creativity. With its hooked hairs covering its shell, the decorator crab collects pieces of seaweed, sponges, shells, coral fragments, and even toxic organisms, attaching them carefully to its body like a custom-made camouflage suit. It doesn't just grab anything nearby. It chooses its decorations based on what will best protect it in that specific environment. If the seabed is covered with algae, the crab becomes a patch of green fuzz. If it lives among corals, It builds a crown of colorful fragments to blend in perfectly. In waters where predators rely on smell as much as sight, the decorator crab adds pieces of noxious sponges or stinging anemones, creating a living shield that not only hides it visually, but makes it dangerous to touch. Scientists observing these crabs have seen them constantly adjusting and repairing their camouflage, replacing old materials with fresh ones, making their disguise even better over time. Some individuals have been recorded taking hours to prepare after molting, knowing that until their shell is decorated, they are exposed and vulnerable. This isn't blind instinct. It's behavior that shows planning and problem-solving, a conscious effort to change appearance based on threat levels. Predators like octopuses, fish, and larger crabs often pass right by without noticing anything unusual, missing the crab entirely because it has become part of the scenery. And if danger gets too close, the decorator crab can freeze, relying entirely on its disguise, confident that its carefully built costume makes it invisible. In the vast and competitive world of the ocean, where almost everything eats something smaller, the decorator crab survives not with armor or speed, but with craftiness, turning the materials of its home into a personal. It's proof that sometimes the smartest way to survive isn't to fight or flee. It's to disappear so completely that danger never even knows you were there. Have you ever wished you could vanish before danger even noticed you? The chameleon has turned this wish into a reality, evolving one of nature's most sophisticated camouflage systems that makes it nearly untouchable in the wild. This reptile doesn't rely on speed or strength to escape predators. Instead, it bends light, changes colors, and manipulates its own appearance to become part of its surroundings, turning invisibility into a survival weapon. The secret lies in its remarkable skin, layered with special cells called chromatophores and nanocrystals that reflect and absorb light in different ways. With a simple adjustment of muscle tension, a chameleon can shift from green to brown, yellow, orange, or even display multiple colors at once. This isn't just a passive reaction to temperature or mood. It's an active, deliberate choice to match the environment, confuse predators, and even communicate with other chameleons. When a bird of prey circles above, or a snake slithers nearby, the chameleon freezes completely, skin blending into leaves, branches, or bark so perfectly that it disappears from sight. Some species take this trick further, subtly changing shades throughout the day as the light shifts, staying invisible no matter how the forest transforms around them. Scientists have studied wild chameleons and found that their camouflage is incredibly precise, adjusting not only color but patterns, creating fake shadows or highlights to mimic sunspots on leaves. This isn't their only clever trick. Chameleons use stillness as a weapon, moving so slowly that predators struggle to detect motion. Their bodies can rock gently, mimicking the sway of branches in the wind, making them indistinguishable from the foliage. Their independently moving eyes give them a full 360-degree view without moving their heads, allowing them to scan for threats while remaining perfectly still. When cornered, some chameleons switch tactics, flashing bright, bold colors to startle predators or signal that they might be poisonous or dangerous, buying enough time to escape. The brilliance of the chameleon's survival strategy is that it doesn't fight danger directly. It avoids it altogether, making predators waste energy searching for a meal that's right in front of them. This incredible adaptation has kept chameleons alive for millions of years in forests, deserts, and grasslands full of hungry hunters. Watching a chameleon vanish into its background feels like magic, but it's nature's ultimate mind game. A living creature turning light and color into a shield, proving that in the wild, survival often belongs to those who can fool the eye, not just outrun the claw. Mom, what if the deadliest hunter in your backyard could sit in silence for half a year, waiting for one single meal to appear? Spiders, especially tarantulas and other ambush hunters, are masters of endurance, able to survive months without food or water, relying only on the perfection of their patience and biology. These eight-legged predators are built for scarcity. When prey vanishes or the seasons turn harsh, their metabolism slows to an almost frozen state, every heartbeat and breath stretched as far as nature allows. Some species have been observed going 6 months or more without a meal, sitting perfectly still in their webs or hiding in burrows, conserving energy in a way that seems impossible for a living creature. Scientists studying tarantulas in captivity have recorded cases where they were fed just a few times a year, yet they remained healthy, active, and ready to strike whenever food returned. The secret lies in their cold-blooded efficiency. They don't burn energy to stay warm like mammals do, and their bodies are designed to extract every drop of nutrition from each hunt. A single insect or small rodent can fuel a spider for weeks or months, its internal systems working slowly but relentlessly to make sure nothing is wasted. Even water isn't always necessary. Many spiders get hydration from their prey, allowing them to survive long, dry periods in deserts or sealed-off burrows underground. Their survival strategy isn't frantic searching, it's absolute stillness. They wait, traps set, sensing the tiniest vibration in the air or on a strand of silk, ready to strike when opportunity finally crawls by. This ability to endure famine makes spiders some of the most resilient predators on the planet. Imagine sitting in the dark for half a year, moving only when the promise of life walks past you, and yet staying strong, fast, deadly. That's the spider's way. A silent master of patience, proving that in nature, survival doesn't always belong to the biggest or loudest hunter, but to the one who can wait longer than the rest of the world can stand. The emperor penguin might look like a symbol of endurance simply for surviving the brutal Antarctic winter, but its real feat goes far beyond icy winds and frozen oceans. These birds can endure up to 4 long months without a single bite of food or drop of water, standing in temperatures that can plunge below 60 degrees Celsius, carrying the future of their species on their feet. When the female lays her single egg, she leaves for the distant ocean to feed, and the male takes on the ultimate test of survival. He balances the fragile egg on his feet, tucking it under a warm flap of skin, and then he waits. For over 120 days, he doesn't eat, doesn't drink, barely moves, surviving entirely on the fat stored in his body before the long vigil begins. The Antarctic storms whip around him at hurricane force, the cold cuts like knives, and still he stands, huddling with thousands of other males in tightly packed circles, taking turns in the center to share the little warmth their bodies produce. Scientists have measured that emperor penguins lose almost half their body weight during this fast, yet their bodies are miracles of conservation. Slowing metabolism, recycling water from fat breakdown, and using every last calorie for survival, and for keeping their chick alive. They don't hunt, they don't search for water, they simply endure, day after endless day, in one of the most hostile places on the planet. When the females finally return, fat from weeks of feeding at sea, the males have gone without food for up to 4 months, often over 100 days in the worst conditions, and many have not taken a sip of water during that entire time. Some collapse as soon as their duty is over, completely drained, while others immediately march toward the ocean to refill their empty reserves. This staggering display of endurance isn't just about individual survival. It's about absolute devotion to the next generation, a sacrifice unmatched in the animal kingdom. Every year, emperor penguins prove that true strength isn't only in power or speed. Sometimes it's the ability to stand still, resist hunger, thirst, and unimaginable cold, and not give up until the job is done. These birds live on the very edge of what life can endure, surviving where almost nothing else can, turning every breath, every heartbeat, into an act of willpower against nature's most brutal test. Sharks are known as apex predators, rulers of the ocean that dominate their prey with speed and power, but one of their most extraordinary abilities has nothing to do with the hunt itself. It's what happens after. Certain species, like the Greenland shark and great white, can go weeks, months, and in extreme cases, close to a year without another proper meal. Their survival strategy is unlike anything humans could imagine. Sharks are built to burn energy slowly, their entire body designed for efficiency. A single large meal, a seal, a whale carcass, or even a massive school of fish can sustain them for astonishingly long periods. Their metabolism is so specialized that they digest food gradually, extracting every possible calorie, storing fat in their livers, and regulating how much energy they spend on swimming or hunting. Greenland sharks take this to an unimaginable level. Living in icy waters where food is scarce, they drift slowly through the dark, conserving energy so effectively that they can survive for months between hunts. These sharks grow incredibly slowly, live for centuries, some over 400 years old, and their endurance allows them to navigate a world where meals are rare luxuries. Great whites have been tracked swimming thousands of miles between feeding grounds, sometimes not eating for weeks, yet remaining perfectly capable of explosive bursts of speed when opportunity arises. Their muscles, fueled by stored energy, can unleash devastating attacks even after long periods of fasting. This ability isn't just about hunger tolerance. It's a survival adaptation that keeps sharks on top of the ocean food chain despite unpredictable prey availability. When a large kill is made, they gorge themselves, storing fats and oils in their liver, a nutrient-packed reserve that acts like a living energy bank, slowly fueling their body for the long wait ahead. Unlike land predators that hunt daily, sharks can simply vanish into the vastness of the ocean, gliding silently for weeks on end, burning almost nothing until the next chance comes. This patience and endurance have kept sharks alive for over 400 million years, surviving mass extinctions and dramatic changes to Earth's oceans. Their ability to endure long stretches without food makes them not just skilled hunters, but masters of survival in one of the harshest, most unpredictable environments on the planet. In the endless blue, where prey can disappear, for days or months, the shark simply keeps going, unhurried, unbroken, a living example of how efficiency can be just as deadly as power. They say survival is about strength or speed, but these animals prove it's about something far more powerful: the ability to outlast the impossible. We've seen camels crossing burning deserts without a drop of water for weeks, crocodiles turning one meal into life for months, and snails sealing themselves away to sleep through years of drought. Sharks and snakes can feast once and disappear for entire seasons, while scorpions wait in stillness for a year on nothing but patience. Emperor penguins stand in brutal storms for 4 months without food. Frogs entomb themselves underground to wait out a dead earth, and spiders hide in silence for half a year, surviving on a single lucky hunt. Bears turn their own fat into fuel for 7 long months of hibernation. Tortoises carry their water inside. Sloths live in slow motion on almost nothing, and albatrosses cross oceans, surviving on hope and endurance. Each one reveals a truth about life we often forget. Survival isn't just about fighting or winning. It's about knowing how to last when the world gives you nothing at all, turning time, patience, and adaptation into the greatest superpowers nature ever created. We like to believe survival is a matter of willpower, but these animals prove it's something far greater. A delicate balance between biology, adaptation, and time itself. Their ability to endure weeks, months, even years without food or water reshapes what we think life needs to keep going. It shows that intelligence isn't only about thought, and strength isn't only about force. True power can be quiet, hidden in the ability to wait, to stretch a single drop of water, a single meal, into life itself. These creatures are living proof that nature doesn't follow human rules. It writes its own, turning emptiness into opportunity and scarcity into survival. They remind us that life can persist in places where everything says it shouldn't. That sometimes the greatest victory is simply staying alive when the world tries to erase you. In the end, these endurance champions challenge us to see survival not as a fight, but as an art. One perfected long before we ever learned to call ourselves resilient. We've just witnessed some of nature's toughest survivors, animals that can defy hunger, thirst, and time itself, proving that life finds a way even in the harshest, most impossible conditions. From deserts with no rain to frozen wastelands, from the depths of the oceans to the endless skies, these creatures have turned endurance into their ultimate weapon, rewriting everything we thought we knew about survival. If this video opened your eyes to just how incredible the natural world can be, hit that like button, subscribe for more stories that reveal nature's hidden power, and share this with someone who needs to see what true resilience looks like. Now it's your turn. Which of these animals impressed you the most? Which one would you never want to trade places with? And do you know of another champion of survival we should include next time? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because the world is full of untold stories of life pushing past the limits, and together we'll uncover them all.